All right, everyone. Welcome back to the channel. This week we are looking at the last week of trading for the month of June, and we are going to be starting on June 28th, and it's going to run until Friday, July 3rd. Quite a bit to talk about this week as to what I'm expecting for the upcoming week. But as usual, before we begin, let's just pray. God, we just thank you again for your goodness and for another opportunity that we have to trade. Pray that you'll beat anyone watching this video. May it be instrumental in helping them to develop and maintain a strategy that will be successful. We thank you and we love you in Jesus' name. All right, guys. Let me just pause here to say, if this is your first time watching these series of videos and this is your first video, please pause, go back to YouTube, go through the menu and look for the video that I posted for last week's review. You may want to watch that before you watch this video so that you can follow along with some of the things that I'm discussing. All right. Also, if you are new, you will understand that I have already done my lines for the upcoming week. The blue lines represent the weekly boundaries and the green line represent the daily boundaries. The reason why I'm doing this video also early this week is because tomorrow night, when I would normally do the videos, I have an event that I need to attend and I will not be able to do those videos. So just so that you can have the reviews to get you prepared for the upcoming week, I'm going to go ahead and post them today. All right. Lots to talk about. As you guys, will know by now, I'm 100% bullish on the US30. No apologies for that. No excuses. 100% bullish, which means the market only makes higher lows to higher highs. Not to say that it does not sell, but any sell that the US30 or the NASDAQ or any other indices for that matter does, any sell that it does, it's only a temporary retracement to create the next higher low. All right. So going into what am I expecting for this week? Well, let me keep it real simple. Here we go. I have given my zone of interest. This is my buy zone, so to speak. This is where I expect that price is going to buy from going into the new week. So for me, not expected to do any buys until price actually comes in this zone. This is where I'm expecting the buys to start from this week. Now, if you will notice that my all-time high expansion zone has gotten shorter this week again. And the reason for that is each time a all-time high is created, it pushes the zone higher. So which means this zone is going to actually contract. Now, if you remember last week, the zone, and I show it to you, this was last week's zone. This was last week's zone. Okay, this is where last week's zone was. This is where we started from. Okay, last all-time high. Okay, and it expanded up until it got to my second TP for 2026. Okay, the mere fact that the market consolidated, made the higher lows, it came up and it moved the zone, so it pushed from here. This is now the new all-time high. So, of course, my zone is going to start from here, and I'm expecting it to go higher, contract again for this week. All right. So, again, this is where I'm expecting the buys to start. This is where I expect the buys to terminate. There's no two ways about it. It's just simple logic. It's just understanding historical data, using that historical data to actually chart a course forward. You cannot expect to successfully trade US30 without first understanding what has happened in history. History is the only thing that you have. You don't have anything in the future because that's not here as yet. It's coming. So if you try to do that, you're only speculating. However, when you analyze what has happened consistently over history, you are able to chart a course forward. That is why when you look at this particular chart, which I have here, this chart here, this chart actually shows you the trajectory that I have for the US30. Okay? Why? Because history. Now you may say, well, you only started from here. Well, if I zone out or in some more, you'll notice that it actually started from here all the way up. All right? So there's nothing on the US 30 that tells you that this is a bearish instrument. So for all of you people who are selling, I don't know how to say it. I'm really sorry for you because you are going to lose and you're going to lose badly. Okay. One thing that I want to point out is if you take a trade, and I mean, the only reason I can say this is because it has happened to me and it's an adjustment that I've made to help me to become better at analyzing and being better to able to trade the US30. If you go in for a buy on the US30 and the market retraces and the market continues to go down and you lose that trade, it simply means that the move was not ready as yet to be bought. Let me say that again. If you take a trade on the US30, a buy, okay? If you take a buy on the US30 and you lose that buy because the price obviously went down or continued to go down, it simply means that you went in too early. It may sound very simple, it may sound insignificant, but it's true. Let me show it to you. So let's say, for example, this week, this particular week, I took a buy right here. Okay? I'm expecting it to go up. But notice it didn't go up. It stopped right here and it went down and I lost this trade. Okay? Simple means that this was not the correct entry. Because notice what happened. It came here. And once it came here, it bought. So this should have been the correct entry. So whenever you lose a buy on the US30, okay, it's not because the market is retracing. It just simply means that you took the buy too early because the buys are always the right trade on the US30. Let me prove it again. Let's use a bigger time frame. Let's use the 11 hour, for example. Okay. So again, let's say I took a buy here. Okay. It bought up, made only a lower high, and then it dipped, and I lost this trade. And you're like, oh my God, it's actually in a bearish momentum, whatever it is. Well, guess what? Look at what it did. It came here, found support, and it bought all the way up, passing where you actually did until where we are today. Let me give you a simple example, a simple way to understand how the US30 actually trades. Okay. So let's say you're looking at US30. Okay. Any line that you draw on the US30, any horizontal line that you draw on the US30 always gets broken. The only one that hasn't been broken as yet is the most recent all-time high that has been made this week. But every single high has been broken on the US30. Every single one. You can use whatever time frame you wish, but any high that was made on the US30 has been broken this week, Thursday. That was history that was created on Thursday because that's the highest the US30 has ever gone. That's the highest. That's the only point on the US30 that has not been broken as yet. The high that was created on Thursday. Let's look at Thursday. On Thursday, let me go down to my 1 minute and I'll show you exactly where we are, what time frame. On Thursday, we're talking about. Sorry. Here we go. This was Thursday. only high that has never been broken on the US 30, the highest point, of course, is this one that was made here at 10:37 a.m. on Thursday. That's the highest point. That's history right there. This candle, history-making candle. Okay? But it will get broken again. I guarantee you that. It will get broken. All right? So enough of that. So what I wanted to tell you is this week is real simple. All my buys are going to be generated right here. You may say, well, what if it comes down here? Well, all the better. If it comes down here, then hey, it's a bigger discount and I get to buy and I go all the way up. More money for me. But this is my current buy zone for this week. All right. And I'm expecting the trade to terminate once we get here. So I'm not stopping my buys until the all-time high is broken again. So that's what I'm expecting for this week. Whether or not it will break the second TP, that remains to be seen. Depends on how much volume is in the market, depending on how volatile there is conditions in the market. But I know that this will get broken. It's not a matter of if, it's just a matter of when. It will get broken. All right. So this is my expansion zone. So anytime the price reaches here in this yellow zone, I can see if the TP and then I'll just wait for my next higher low. All right. Now, the other thing that I wanted to touch on real quick was the price of oil, actually. Okay. Now remember, oil has an adverse relationship with the US 30. Okay, which means when oil falls, the US 30 climbs. Okay. Now you may look at this and you may say, well, isn't oil and the US 30 both finished in red? Well, guess what? Then that simply means if both of them are going in the same direction, means that there's no trade to be taken. Means that the market is still retracing and the market is still consolidating. So guess what? You leave that market alone and wait for the right conditions. The problem is a lot of traders don't want to wait. They don't like to wait. They want to be able to trade now. They want to be able to get their money now, especially when they have a good setup. They want it to play out right now. You have to learn to be patient. Okay? So, oil, let's look at oil. Oil has been making lower highs, lower lows, lower highs, lower lows. And I keep hearing a lot of people talking about oil being bullish. It's bullish and this, that, and the other. Okay, biggest load of horse crap I've heard in my life. Go on the monthly time frame and look at oil. We're looking at Brent Crude right now. There's nothing that's bullish about this chart right now. Nothing that's bullish about this chart. Yes, it's making a higher high, but notice this higher high that has been made, what is it? The past, since March, okay? This higher high that has been made, guess what? It's even lower than the all-time high for oil, which was at $131. So oil is not bullish. You had a lot of volatility and you had a big buy up during the time when you had the war starting and everything like that. But oil is not bullish. So any of you that's thinking that oil is bullish and the US economy, the US 30 is going to fall somehow, need to get your head checked because it's not going to happen. It's definitely not going to happen. If you look at the seasonals chart, here's the seasonals data. This just shows you that this has been an exceptional year, 2026. But notice how oil has been trading every single year. This is a 0% line. Let me bring it up. This is a 0% line. And unlike the US 30, where I've showed you, where I've shown you that the once the price breaks above the 0% line, it tends to continue going up. Well, oil is the reverse. Once the price breaks below, it tends to finish below that line. And again, the standout year, was actually 2022. Well, let's prove the theory wrong. let's look at the US30 and see if 2022 was a odd year where it performed out of character. And let's see also if the reverse is true. When the price breaks above this gray line, does it continue up? Well, let's look at US30. Remember, 2022, we're expecting to see below. All other years, we're expecting to see above. Let's look at US30. Here we go. See that? 2022, exceptional year, finished below. Every other year has finished above the 0% line. Guys, it's, it's simple, but believe me, it took me a while to actually understand this and come to this realization. 7 years in the making. Okay, I just didn't get up one day and do this. This is constant evaluation, constant back testing, constant studying. So if you guys think you're going to watch a few YouTube videos and do a couple of trades and take a couple of signals from your body and trading view and, all that kind of stuff, you're making a sad mistake. It's never going to happen. Never going to happen. I can guarantee you that. That is why only 1 to 5% of people who start trading ever succeed. I've proven that for myself. I've seen it for myself because the level of work that it takes to be able to come out and trade consistently, 99% of people are not prepared to put in that work. They're just in it to make a quick buck. All right. Going back to the analysis for this week. So we'll go back to the charts. Well, so again, let me go back and I will refresh and tell you what I'm expecting for this week. All right. Because I don't want anybody to come and say, oh, this, that, and the other. You're trying to predict the markets and you can never predict the markets. No, I am never trying to predict the markets. That's not my goal. Never trying to predict the markets. All I do is I use the historical data that has been available or is available to me based on trends, and I follow the trend. If you understand physics, a body in motion tends to stay in motion. A trend in motion tends to stay in motion. Okay, so if you look at the history of the US30, you'll see a continued progression towards breaking all-time highs all the time. Why do I think I am special, or why do you think you are special? That in your lifetime, the first time it has ever happened is when we're going to have a crash like we have never seen before, and all of a sudden the US30 is going to start making lower highs to lower highs. Lower highs to lower lows. It's not going to happen. Stop thinking like that. Follow the trend. It's there for you. That's why you have the data. Use the data to your advantage. All right. So real quick, don't want to make this too long. What am I expecting this week? Well, this was all of last week. Well, I'm expecting that the price is going to come into this zone, generating my buys for this week. And after some period of consolidation, I'm expecting it to move up. Let me see. This line looks a little bit off. That's 5 p.m. 1 p.m. There we go. This is what was off. There we go. All right. So I'm expecting all the buys to actually start right from here and then continue up to breaking here. Let's look at the 1 hour time frame. There we go. We see more of that clearly. Yep. Right in this zone. Look, notice every time price actually comes to this zone, for the past couple of days, it has shot up. So we saw here, this is Wednesday, shot up, all-time high. Came down here today, okay, tested on top of it. Guess what? It went up, came back down, it's consolidating. Typical, because today is Friday, leading into Mondays, Tuesdays, and sometimes Wednesdays is when you're going to see a lot of consolidation, retracement, and volatility spikes until the market decides to shoot, to go in trend, to continue breaking those all-time highs. All right, so that's the 1 hour. Any time frame that you look at tells the same story. Let's look at the 5 hour. Here we go. Price came down. It broke below this little zone that I drew here today. But notice it came right back up, went and made an all-time high. Came back down, tested on this zone today at 9 o'clock. The 9 o'clock candle, 8 o'clock, the 5 hour candle finishes at 1. So it's the same 9 o'clock candle right here. Okay, tipped it, went right up. Consolidated the rest of the day. Okay, let's look at the 11 hour. There we go. 11 hour came down here, bought right here. This is a support line. This line is the weekly support for the 1 hour time frame. All right. Came here, bounced from here, went up, all-time high. How do I get this number? This line right here, it's the line. It's the lowest point that it made of last week. That's why this line is so precise. It's right on the wick. So I use historical data to determine how I trade in the future. So I know that this line right here, this level right here has been respected. The market already told me that. It came down here. This was the lowest point that was made on Tuesday. So guess what? Why do I think it's going to go below here? And this was the lowest point created the week last week. And the week before, it was coming from a lower point and it came up, broke, made this new high. It's simple. Simple, guys. Use the historical data to chart your course forward. Okay. So again, the 23 hour, I know I remember those of you who follow me on YouTube and on Instagram. I did make a post this week and I told you guys that the 23 hour, and let me take this off. The 23 hour came down. It made the first dip right here on Sunday. I remember telling you guys this on, I think it was on Monday or so. I told you guys that the mere fact that it came down here, it bought up. And you saw this retracement coming down. It's going to tip right here and it's going to shoot right up. I remember telling you, go back and watch all my posts that I did on Instagram and TikTok last week. I did say it. It's going to come here, retest, and then buy straight up to do the all-time high. And that's exactly what it did. I'm not predicting the markets. I use the data that was available to me to be able to make that assessment. It's not fortune telling, guys. There's no secret wonder or anything like that. Just facts and logic. Okay? So here we are, higher lows to higher highs. And you see the bigger time frames are showing you why you guys are trying to sell something and talk nonsense about, oh, the market is oversold and it's a scam and it's a sham and it's going to fall. Guys, anybody who is telling you that the US30 is going to be selling and crashing forever, do not listen to them. Trust me when I tell you, I spent years listening to all of those people talking garbage and none of it has come true. The market keeps buying from the largest higher lows. Okay. Now, one other thing that I want to show you here real quick. Okay. Go back to, just pick any year. Any year that you have picked, somebody's telling you that the market is going to crash. So we're here in 2025. Somebody was telling you in 2025 the market is going to crash, even if you took the highest point. Well, here's what I'll do. Let me use my yearly chart to actually show you exactly what I'm talking about. So on my yearly chart, here we go. So remember, I did this from 2020 all the way up to 2026. So in 2020, somebody's telling you that this market is going to crash. It's going to crash. Let's choose the highest point of 2020, which is right here. Okay. They're telling you that the market is going to crash. Okay. No high of any previous year remains intact. The price has always broken above every single high. So all those people who have been calling for a crash in 2020, they're still all the way down here waiting for that crash, and the price is now here. So if you seem to think that all of a sudden there's going to be one big crash to come back down here and take you out, keep waiting. It's never going to happen. Never going to happen. Okay? Last thing I want to point out real quick, it's really important. So let's go back to this chart right here. This is this week's chart. So we're on the 2 hour. Now let's look at the daily. Okay. The support line for the daily is 44,854.1. Okay. This is this week. Last week on the daily, 48,854.1. Okay. So I'm sorry. It was a weekly. My bad. Let's go to the weekly. All right, here we go. So the weekly is this current week is 3873.6. Okay. Last week, it was 29,610.10. Why is that significant? Well, remember, you read from left to right. This is the weekly chart. If you look, every single thing has been moving higher. Now, if this is last week and this was the support level on the weekly time frame, 29,610.1. And this week, this support level has moved up to 30,873.6. That simply tells you guys that the market is making higher lows, and it's only a matter of time where this low is now going to form the support of this level right here. So those of you who talk about the market being bearish and how there's going to be some big catastrophic failure, sorry, it's not going to happen. All right. Sorry I took all of that time to get that out there. I just wanted to just hopefully get it in somebody's head that you need to be trading the US30 by trading higher lows to higher highs. Yes, there are sells in the market. I agree. But the sells are not permanent. They're only temporary retracements to create the next higher low before the market goes back and create another all-time high. So again, for this week, what am I expecting? Well, let me point it out again. Here is the zone of interest the buys are going to generate from here. Price is going to continue working its way up until the all-time high that was created on Thursday gets broken again. Once this gets broken, this is going to be your take profit range. Will it break TP2 this week? Maybe, maybe not. Doesn't matter. If it doesn't get there, you do the same thing all over again. You move your support up, find your next zone of interest, and do the same thing all over again. That's it, guys. That's it. So, that being said, let's look to have a wonderful trading week. Let's get it. Let's get it. Congrats to those of you who have been improving in the process, who have reached out, asked questions, and have been implementing some of the stuff. Congrats to you. Like I said, I charge nothing. I'm not selling anything. This is just my own analysis that I post on YouTube, and you all have the privilege of seeing it. Like it or not, it is what it is. I didn't make it up. The markets tell the story. So whenever people try to argue with me and tell me otherwise, I just let the market do the talking. Higher lows to higher highs are always guaranteed, and that's how the market will always be traded. Thank you very much, guys. I will see you next time, and happy trading. Bye-bye.